I do want to get you caught up on the other big story we're watching right now. We have live pictures outside a New York courthouse where just moments ago sexual assault charges against the former IMF chief, Dominique Strauss-Khan, were dropped. The left-hand side, you're seeing the chopper video from outside the court. The right hand is the video of Strauss-Khan just leaving the courtroom. And we've just received a statement from Dominique Strauss-Khan saying, "These past 2.5 months have been a nightmare for me and my family. I want to thank all of my friends in France and in the United States who have believed in my innocence, to the thousands of people who sent their support personally and in writing." He expresses appreciation to the judge, his staff, and says that he's gratified the district attorney agreed with the lawyers that this case had to be dismissed. And then he goes on to say he's looking forward to returning home and resuming something of a more normal life. NBC's Ron Allen is at the courthouse in New York. And here with me in the studio, defense attorney Michael Jones. Ron, let me begin with you. How did this all come about to where we were in court today?
Well, the entire court proceeding took about 10 minutes. It was very, very brief. An assistant district attorney basically said that the complainant, the woman, the hotel worker who claims she was attacked by Dominique Strauss-Khan, has been untruthful in just about every interview that they conducted with her on matters great and small, as they put it. They released a 25-page document yesterday that was essentially a scathing indictment of this woman and her veracity and her credibility. Essentially from the beginning, she told multiple stories about what happened that night, especially about what she did after this alleged incident. She told different stories about her asylum application to get into this country several years ago. And perhaps most damning, she told them an emotional story about being the victim of a gang rape in her native country some years ago. Emotional details about how her 2-year-old daughter was ripped out of her arms. And then a week later, she said that none of that was true. Now, why she made up the story is unclear, but for the prosecutors, it was an example of how this woman, in their view, could tell a dramatic story about being a victim of a rape that never happened. And of course, that was their worst fear. If this case went forward, that's what she might be doing in the courtroom before a jury. The bottom line is the prosecutors say that they do not know what happened, and they cannot believe this woman because she told so many stories, gave so many versions of the truth about so many issues. So Strauss-Khan left here a minute ago. It's unclear whether he has his passport or not. Many would think that he'd be on his way to France as soon as possible. The statement did not reveal what he was going to do next. His attorneys, we expect them to give a statement at some point, essentially saying that he's been vindicated. They have been saying that he is innocent all along, and now he certainly must feel vindicated about this decision. And again, the prosecutors, for the woman who made this complaint, it's all been just an incredible experience all the way around, and nothing good for anybody involved in this situation. I'd have to say the prosecutors wondering about why they pursued the case. Should they have pursued the case? Of course, Dominique Strauss-Khan, there was evidence, conclusive evidence. The prosecutors said that there was some sort of sexual encounter, but it was unclear to them whether this was forced or whether it was consensual. Contessa, back to you at this point. Again, waiting to hear from his attorneys, but Strauss-Khan, we do not believe, will make a statement at this point.
Okay, Ron, thank you. And we did get the written statement from Dominique Strauss-Khan, but he didn't come out and talk to reporters on camera. By the way, the prosecutor here says, "We did not arrive at, nor did we reach this decision for dismissal lightly. Ultimately, we are governed by provable facts." So, Michael, is that really the problem with the case? It does not, his lawyers may say that Dominique Strauss-Khan is vindicated. This does not vindicate him.
Well, it may vindicate him to a certain extent. It doesn't show that he was innocent, though. What's important in the prosecutor's statement is that they did not say that he was innocent. The defense attorneys said that he was innocent.
Okay, and they also say that one of the responsibilities of the DA is to determine whether the case is credible. In this case, now they have gone forward and said, in this case, the DA has decided it's not credible. There's no need for a special prosecutor. The accuser in this case, her lawyers had asked for a special prosecutor. So what's the impact of this?
It's within the discretion of the prosecutors to determine whether or not, in a sense, their star witness is a credible witness. Unfortunately, the cumulative effect of all the lies, the misrepresentations that they were able to discover as the prosecutors investigated the case led to a conclusion that they couldn't put this woman before a jury and say to a jury, you need to believe what she says, when in fact they didn't necessarily believe what she said.
How important is her credibility when it comes to a planned civil case against Dominique Strauss-Khan?
Well, her problem is that her credibility is going to follow her into the civil case, and she's going to be subject to cross-examination even in the civil case.
There's a lot of outrage today that this was a blame the victim, that they're looking at a woman's past when it comes to was she the victim of a crime. Is that the case here?
Well, comments are made like that in a lot of rape cases that end up in a situation where they don't prosecute. But if you take the time to look at this woman's record and the allegations and the facts that came out and the misrepresentations and the difficulties that the prosecutors had when they would interview her. I mean, at one point she allegedly curled up in a ball on the floor. I mean, that's not rational behavior, even if one has been traumatized. And that's the problem, that the prosecutors looked at that and said, how do we put this woman on the stand and subject her to a withering cross-examination when there seems to be a multitude of instances where she lied or misrepresented the facts?
Yeah, all right. Michael, thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Another big story.